Hey, and welcome to the Megan Waldrop podcast. I'm Megan. If you're new here, stoked to have you here. If you've been here before, I am loving that we're continuing to have these conversations. Thank you for taking time to be here with us today. I know you could do anything, be anywhere, and the fact that you choose to press play and hang out with us means the world. Thank you so much. I don't take it for granted ever. Truly, truly, truly. So let's get into it. This is the third episode in a little series that it was inspired by an Instagram reel that got me thinking. And this might be one of my favorites because this makes me feel like, oh, like a sigh of relief after I've kind of been able to roll it around on my tongue for a little while. Because it touches on something I've been wrestling for years. It's the idea that spiritual growth somehow means being less human. And maybe you've heard this before: ascend, transcend, rise above, move into a higher vibration, wake people up. And while I understand the intention behind those ideas, I've been wondering something lately about that. It's, what if we didn't come here to transcend being human? What if we came here to experience being human? And no diss to anybody who uses those words. I've definitely used those words before. But it's funny because, and I feel like this is a whole other podcast topic, but there's a certain type of, how do I want to put this? There's a certain type of like a spiritual or even religious, I don't want to say if it's hierarchy, but it feels like there's a caste system sometimes where people feel like they project like they're, better than you because they have studied more or they have better verbiage around certain things and, had a million Kundalini experiences, have talked to God and all these things. And that's amazing. And I'm thrilled for you. But it's that feeling of, and maybe you've felt it before, maybe you haven't, but I definitely have, where people feel like they're almost like, you'll get there one day, or well, I've had this experience and so I constantly have these experiences, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I just don't like, wait, can we just be real here and be like, so what was that like? How's life? Like, what was the biggest challenge for you and stuff like that? Like, I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I don't want to talk about like how someone is better than the other person, because no one is better than anybody else. We are all equal, we are all connected, and that is a beautiful thing. So we'll talk about that's a whole other topic. I feel like that's a podcast episode I haven't even touched on yet. I've had it in my notes to talk about, but that's a whole other thing. But this really does go with today. It's like that idea of spiritual growth somehow meaning that you are becoming less human. And yeah, what if we are not here to not become human? What if we're here to actually be as human as possible? And I think most of us have experienced this. Sometimes things change in our life, and maybe it's breath work or meditation or recovery. Maybe it's therapy, a spiritual practice, or even a job. I mean, whatever that is for you. And because it's helping us, we want everyone else to experience it too. And I've definitely felt that way. Whenever I learned about breath work and Reiki, I really wanted other people to know about it because, or even sobriety, I was really maybe not like, hey, I'm sober, but like if I was talking about it, I want to share how to normalize sobriety and to normalize being sober in environments that have alcohol or drugs or whatever, like concerts and stuff like that. Like, there are people out there who are sober that are going to these things, and it's okay, or you're not alone. And you know, whenever you get on those topics, you're excited because you want to share that with others because it gave you relief. And so you want to help it maybe give others relief too. But, over time, I've learned that, and but I've also known this, and I know you've known this too, is that people don't change because we convince them. They change when they're ready. And Lord knows that I know that on a personal level. And also, yeah, people are going to change when they're ready. We can't like bully people into changing how we want to, because that's, first of all, that feels gross just even saying that. And also, as someone who loves control and is working through that control, uh, who am I to say, like, who am I to say what's best for somebody? Like, that's what's best for me might be the worst thing for somebody else. Like, who knows? So that's the humility of it all, right? It's like one of the hardest lessons, so many lessons, but one of the hard lessons I've learned is like, I'm not responsible for anyone else's change or any else's awakening or sobriety or anger management or whatever it is. I can share my story. I can share what I'm learning. I can invite people if they want to try something. I can encourage them. Or I can, that kind of thing. But I can't do someone else's journey for them. Like we can't help someone else that we love, which is so heartbreaking sometimes. I know that. Like I was in therapy several years ago. By the way, therapy rules, like love therapy. Shout out to anybody going through therapy, or if you're thinking about it, like effing try it. It's great. But I was crying to my therapist one time about this one thing that I really wanted to help one of my loved ones with. And I felt so helpless because I couldn't do it. And she even told me, she said, that's not your responsibility. That's their relationship. That's their journey that they have to go on with that person. Like that's their stuff. Like you don't even need to get involved with it. It's actually none of your business. And just wish them well in your heart and move on. And I was sobbing because I was just felt like I really wanted to help this person. And I just realized that I couldn't. And honestly, when she said that, as much as I was crying, it felt so freeing. I was like, okay, I can let go of this feeling of maybe that I'm even failing at this because I'm not able to accomplish what I want, which is, I'm realizing ego control of like trying to fix things for other people. It's like, it was so freeing because she let me know in that, what do you, tough love way, I don't have to carry the weight of fixing anymore. Like, I don't have to carry the weight of fixing anyone. I don't have to rescue anyone. I don't have to prove anything that's not attached to my self worth. I simply get to live what I believe and I can just simply go on with my bad self, you know? And this realization just goes along with this BYOB philosophy that I have, bring your own beliefs. I don't think that there is a right way. I feel that whatever works for you is exactly what's right and true for you. I don't think everyone needs to believe exactly what I believe or what the next person believes. I don't think spirituality is about passing a test or memorizing things or having traveling to all these sacred places in the world, which I would love and will love to do. But that doesn't define who you are as a spiritual person or even a human being. It's about becoming more connected to yourself. It's about coming more connected to the one who knows, and that person is inside, living inside of you, who has those answers that will be revealed as they need to be revealed. It's really, the answers come when we're able to just be quiet with ourselves, but not only quiet, but to be honest with ourselves. And that can be the freaking hardest part because you're like, no, I don't want to let go of that friendship or that relationship, or I don't want to let go of this job or location or whatever it is, or this vice. I don't want to let go. I remember when I was definitely drowning in alcohol. This is like towards the end of my journey of just total destruction with that. I remember somebody in my life who went to rehab, and it was a very significant relationship in my life. And I immediately thought, I'm, damn it, now I have to face my own stuff. Like that was the first thought. I was like, I have to face my own shit now. Like this sucks. I don't want to face this. Like I don't want to deal with this. I just want to keep drinking because I don't know what else to do. I'm so lost. This is the only thing that gives me some pleasure. And at the end, it just didn't. It was just like a constant getting wasted and being hungover and then hair of the dog. It was like a cycle over and over again. And that was just it. It was like the answers come from within. I was finally, for me, it was a rock bottom that got me woken up. You don't need a rock bottom, but for some of us, that's how we are able to actually make these changes. It's the best thing I've ever done. The one thing I never thought I could do in a million years, and never thought in a million years I'd be a sober girl. And I am like, no weed, mushrooms, alcohol, nothing. And there's no shame in the game if you do, because believe me, I loved it. And if I could handle it, I probably would still do it. But for me, it just felt like it wasn't helping where I was trying to go in my journey, which is honestly more freedom. And I just felt totally bound by my addiction and wanting to know, when am I going to get the next drink? Where am I going to find weed? Where all these things, like, where is it? How much do I have left? Do I have enough money for this? Where am I going to get it? Like, oh my God, it's so effing exhausting for me that I just had to. I was like, I just want to be free. Like, wouldn't it be nice to not be addicted, Megan? And then you don't have to worry about that. Like, you can even just go on with your life. Like, I remember thinking when I remember thinking, this is so funny to even think this out loud. I've thought this several times. Man, think of all the time I would have to myself, like how much extra time I would have if I just didn't feed into this addiction. Man, I would really have so much more time for my life if I didn't chase alcohol or weed or whatever it was. Like, that was so funny to think that. And the thing is, like, life didn't necessarily get 100% easier. It did get easier because I wasn't hungover all the time. And it wasn't like my problems went away, but it made things way more manageable. Like, it was to the point where I was like, I can't imagine going through whatever is going on right now if I was drinking. And I know Chris and I have said that to each other too. It's like, can you imagine us going through this challenging time in our relationship if we were both drinking still? Like, we would, oh my God, like we would probably both be in jail. Like, who knows? It'd be terrible. Oh man. And here I am going on a tangent, which, by the way, I'm like, all I can do is share. I can't change anybody. I'm not trying to change anyone. I'm just trying to say, I'm bringing it all. Let me bring it home here. Is that the answers come when you're quiet. And the whole point of that tangent was, and sometimes you just don't want to be honest with yourself. And you're like, I effing don't want to do this. Like, it sucks. I don't want to do this. Quit effing telling me to do this. But I swear, at one point, it's going to get to a point where you're like, I have nowhere to go but try this, something else. And when you do, it's going to be hard at first because your body and your mind are going to fight it because it's so used to being in that other way of thinking and habits and doing and all these other things that not doing is going to feel scary and foreign and like you can't do it. But I swear to God, if you just keep going, and by keep going, I mean by like, don't pick it up. Like, don't pick up the cigarette. Don't pick up the drugs. Like, don't pick up the drink. Like, just simple. It gets easier though. It gets easier. Then one day you'll be like, dang, I'm so effing glad that I don't have to worry about that anymore. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's somewhere you live. Maybe it's a landlord. Like, you don't even want to deal with that person anymore. Like, I don't know. Whatever it is, there are those things in our life that we're like, it's, that whole the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. We're like, well, I know how to handle this devil. So I just don't know if I'm too scared. I don't know if I can actually do this other thing because I don't think I have it in me. But if it's even whispering to you, that means that it's in you. That means you do have the strength to do it. You do have the ability to do it. It's just waiting for you to take that path. And of course, at first it's going to feel scary and it's going to suck at times. But man, give it a few days, give it a week, like keep going. Surround yourself with people that are actually, talking the same talk as you are, listening to podcasts, reading books. I remember when I quit drinking, I read so many books about alcohol addiction, memoirs. Oh, love memoirs about drugs and drinking. They are my favorite. They were my favorite. I have a whole bookshelf of them. One of the best ever, if you want one about drinking alcohol or quitting, is Mary Carr. What is it? Oh man, let me look on my bookshelf. I can't see it from here. Anyway, look up Mary Carr. I cannot believe I can't think of this name right now. And Mary and then Karr. It's her most famous memoir. I think it was her first one on drinking. Oh man, so good. But I realized, and my mother-in-law came to visit us once, and I had all my books out there, and I was writing my own memoir and using that as research because it was really interesting to see how these writers used different metaphors and different ways to explain the exact same experience over and over and over again. I'm a former writer, or no, I am a writer, former journalist. So I love seeing the different styles of writing. And my grandma, oh wow. My mother-in-law comes in the room. She looks at my books and she's like, "Oh wow, these are your AA meetings." And I was like, Oh, wow. She said, this is your recovery program. And I never even thought of that before. But it's like you don't have to go to a group. If a group doesn't feel comfortable or you don't want to share it, reading about it has really been interesting. Listening to podcasts about it is really interesting just to know that you're not alone. And you're like, damn, I know that darkness. I've been to that place. And this person is writing about it because they're brave enough to talk about it. And they're on the other side of it, which means I can get there too. So it's all about getting connected to yourself. That spiritual path is not about passing a test. It's about getting connected to yourself, being honest and actually, you know, saying, F it, fine. I'll do what I'm hearing over and over again and nudging me not to make things hard on myself. I'm going to try this new way. That's you're building your intuition. That's building your values and that's giving you a more valuable experience. And the more people I meet, the more I realize that wisdom shows up in countless ways. It's really beautiful. And it's not owning it and saying, like, well, I know better. It's like, no, you know just what's better for you. You know what's been better for you than it was in the past. What's good for one is not good for the other. And maybe it is. Maybe it's something that you can take from somebody else and use it in your own life. So that's the thing is that, let's bring it home here. What I've been wondering the most about the spiritual thing is that we can stop trying to escape humanity and actually feel into being human. We don't have to alchemize these feelings of, oh my God, I have negativity coming. How do I make this positive? It's like, no, let's freaking feel into it and like let it move on. Feel grief when you're grieving, laugh when something's funny, or rest when you're tired. Like, if you're like, I'm tired, but man, that means I'm not productive. I'm not doing that. Just go lay down real quick. Like, set a timer if you feel like you don't want to lay down for too long, but just like drink some water, like go chill. It's all good. Let's love the people that we love while we're here and let's tell them about it. I tell my friends I love them all the time. And I know a lot of them, the ones that I'll see this weekend who I love so much, they're brothers to me. I've known them since I was 15. And I tell them I love them since in college. And I'm like, maybe they feel uncomfortable, but I notice as we've gotten older, they say it too. Like you get older, you start to realize those things. Like life is short. Let's tell the people that we love them. We keep showing up for ourselves, even after being disappointed. Failure, this whole failure thing, it's like fail big. I've heard people say that fail big. We don't learn when we're winning. We learn when we're failing. We learn when we fall down and we learn how and maybe not to do it that way the next time. Failing is actually there for our growth. Like that is actually that's how we flip that script. I'm again talking to myself here. If I had a job, like I had a big job coming up and I was so excited, this big speaking engagement, I was thrilled. And then something fell through and it didn't happen. And I was like, oh man, okay, I'm going to feel sad about this for a bit because I was stoked about it. They were stoked about it. They were so apologetic. It was just the stars didn't align. And I'm like, okay, instead of having this reflect on my worth, because it's not, it's like, what do I learn from this? Could I have been better prepared maybe for the speech? Like, is there certain things certain things are out of your control, but I'm just thinking, well, this gives me more time to be a better speaker next time. This gives me more time to research and have more of my points nailed down. And maybe this wasn't the breathwork technique I wanted to share. And maybe I want to share this one. So, trying to practice that around that, like showing up after disappointment. It's okay. That doesn't reflect my value. Being present. What does that mean? We're still learning what that means, but it's like, to fully engage, like how do we be present without thinking what the next question is that we're going to ask somebody else? That's a huge one for me. Sometimes I get so excited. I'm like, and then what? And I'm interrupting somebody. I'm like, how do I become a better listener? That's really what for me personally, presence is being a better listener. That's a huge one. And all I have to do is shut my mouth. It's that simple. It's like not being perfect. It's just being in it, like being in this game. Like, how do we get up in here? Because we look back at the moments that have changed us the most, it's not the moments that we were escaping being human. It's the moments when we fully experienced it, that sadness, the anger, the I'm done with this, I'm moving on, the heartbreak, heartbreak is such a big one. And then we keep showing up and then we just get stronger because of it. And what does that mean to get stronger? Is that, oh, we have more acquired knowledge to use for next time. That's what strength is. The acquiring. It's like building more knowledge, building that muscle, building more knowledge. That's the strength. And that's why breath work is also often described as a spiritual practice because it's deeply human. The breath we take, the first breath we take when we're out of the womb, that is the beginning of our life on this planet Earth that we're able to truly experience. And the last breath that we take before we leave this earth, that is our souls transforming, however you believe, BYOB it. That is us leaving this earthly human body form, is that breath, that last breath. How amazing. And we get to breathe all the time. We don't even think about it. And because that is so deeply human, we're able to use that breath to bring us into our body, into this moment, and into our actual life. Even just noticing the breath. It's not about doing an hour-long session. It's not about doing a 20-minute session. It's about just inhaling through the nose slowly and deeply, in the sense of like bring that breath down. Like you inhale it down to your belly and slow. It's about slow inhales. It's not about deep and big and loud. It's about slow and soft. This is how we get more into our body and slow down to realize all the beautiful blessings that we have around us. It's not the life that we're hoping to get to one day. It's this one that we have right now, that at one point was the life we were wishing for. Sure, there's going to be moments that are challenging and aren't going to work out the way we want, but that's just life redirecting us into where we need to go. And whenever we're able to be honest with ourselves and be quiet, and there's always going to be more, there's always going to be more room for growth. There's not going to be a time where we're feeling like, and we're done. Like that's the end of the road. Like that's our last breath is when we're done. You know what I'm saying? But that's exciting in the sense of we have so much more time to grow, but all within that, there's so much more joy to be had. And so I'm going to leave you with a few questions too. So you can ask yourself, where am I trying to convince someone? What would happen if I stopped trying to wake people up? Like, what would happen if I stop trying to change people or control that? What if my job isn't to teach everyone? What if my job is simply to live what I believe, to simply live what these little nudges are inside of me telling me what to do, and I'm really scared and I don't freaking want to do it? Like, what if my job is to simply maybe, all right, fine. Like, let's just do it your way. Little voice inside of me that knows better, that knows what's going to be the next best move, or at least get me to another place that's going to help me make a decision to find that next place, to find that next place. It's always about moving forward to figure out what that next step's going to be. It's not ever going to be a straight line. That's boring anyway, right? So yeah, it's like, how can we just listen to ourselves more? And it starts with just having a little moment, little breath. And it can be in the car, it can be in the bed, it can be sitting on the couch watching TV with your loved ones. So if you're craving more of that connection and that breathing room for yourself, I'd love for you to download the Breathing Room Toolkit. Simple practices in there, PDFs that you can pull up on your phone whenever you need it. Because sometimes the most spiritual thing we can do isn't to transcend life, isn't to transcend out of this human life. It's to arrive to it. It's to show up for it. It's to participate in it and to make it our own. Don't let all the outside define us. You can let that outside help us redefine ourselves. Like, what does that mean for us? I'm here on this journey with you, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time.